when they have gone on to make identical content? Do I do all that and then what? It's likely that there isn't one crazy person and one super innocent, perfect person. So I just think that if you want to be that super innocent, perfect person, take it. I've never asked to be that person. I've never put myself in that light. Hi there, lovers and friends. So today I have the great honor of sitting across from Miss Shan Boody, who I'm going to be doing an intimate interview with based on the questions that you all submitted. But before we get into that excitement and all the juice that is to come from that interview, I really want to talk to you guys about Squarespace. I finally have a new website that I'm so proud of. Thanks to Squarespace, I am rebranded and rebooted to make my business run smoother and the user experience for all of you more seamless. Now, if like me, you weren't ready to hand over a wad of cash for someone else to build your professional site, then Squarespace is the solution. They have a ridiculous selection of stunning templates catered towards every profession or purpose. It's easy to customize, and for me, who's not a coder, there was definitely no back-end drama. The best part of all, I haven't even mentioned to you guys, you can get a free 1-month trial. And no, you do not have to give over your credit card information. But when you are ready to make it official, you can open up a brand new domain website with Squarespace or transfer over your existing domain to them. Go to squarespace.com/shanbooty for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, make sure you go back to squarespace.com/shanbooty because that's how you save 10% off your first purchase of a website or of a domain. Oh, was that a little plug right there? A little branded plug, it was, right girl. There. A little branded plug. A little branded plug. You're not wearing underwear, are you? No, I am not. Yeah, I can tell. I think we all can. Anyways, let's go into the questions right now. Let's start it off with Tegan Hammond, who says, how did your parents react when you told them about the career that you wanted to go into? My mother's first reaction to finding out what I wanted to do for a living was a classic that I have shared in many interviews, and I will say today, she said, don't you realize that boys are going to be laughing and masturbating at you? And she just pictured one massive ticklish circle jerk, and I'll backtrack to explain what I mean by that. So I realized I went to school for journalism, and day one of journalism school, they say, write what you know, and I realized this is something that I wanted to write about. So that to me was like an aha moment where I was like, there needs to be more peer education, one, and two, more reliable information packaged in an interesting way. So that's how I came up with the concept of writing Laid, which at the time, I called Save Your Cherry. And Save Your Cherry was a way for me to make my message parent friendly. So anyways, I made SaveYourCherry.com, and on that site, I included a full detailed experience of my first time experience. So that is what I sent my parents. I waited until they were on vacation. I had been secretly working on this website for months. And when they went away, probably on their last day of their trip, I sent them the link and I said, just so you know, this is what I'm doing. And I hope by the time they came home, they would have cooled down. It actually didn't work that way. They kind of like ramped each other up. So I'm sure the whole trip they were like, tag, you're it, tag, you're it. Okay, it's me. And they just kept like going back and forth, hyping each other up. So when they came home, it was like all this like, and they just exploded on me. And now, obviously years later, they don't feel that way at all. My parents really had a change of heart once my book actually got published, and they came to my book launch and they saw people. They saw people who had read the book, they saw people who were fans of the kind of work I was doing, and no one was laughing or masturbating at me. And once they saw that, I think they breathed a sigh of relief, and now they're my greatest supporters, and they're allies in what I do. And I'm grateful, years later. At the time, it was definitely very hurtful that they weren't excited about what I was doing or they didn't see the altruism of what I was doing. But now I look back and I totally relate. Okay, well, you like this question. Highly Educated 95 says, what are some of your goals for this year? Do you think about having kids? So many questions. And anyone who's in their 30s, the question of kids slaps you in the face like a wet fish. It's just, whoa. Because not only like, should you answer that question, but you should be working on that answer right now. And so it always just feels a little like, I want to just jump out the window right now. So I'm going to just skirt around it and answer the other questions first. So my goals for this year are to continue to do what I'm doing right now on a bigger scale. And that's kind of been my vision since I started sex ed in 2005. It's a very long time ago that I began talking in this industry or in this field. And I've always just seen myself one day becoming the go-to person, one day becoming the individual who makes this a mainstream topic, so that when someone says they talk about relationships for a living, you're like, oh, like Shan Boodram. And it's just second nature. It's not like, what? What is that? Because now the response that I get sometimes, oh, like Dr. Ruth, which has been incredibly helpful. Having a reference point to help people understand makes a very big difference and makes my job a lot easier, and having to convince people that I actually do have a job. So I want to be that person for the next generation. So let's go back to that kids question, because you're so nosy. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. There was a substantial part of my adult life that I definitely did not want kids and was very vocal about that. I've always been kind of the gong show kid. So my parents had two daughters, my sister, who's 2 years older than me, whom is completely opposite to me in many ways. She is a senior director at a corporate communications company. She is married. She lives in a house that she's probably going to live in it's like her family home. She has 2 kids, and that's exactly who Lauren is supposed to be. And you guys should go and check out rebuildinglauren.com. She's incredible. If you can relate to those things, like, she is a super freaking woman and my greatest inspiration and like my best friend and my heart and my everything. I love my sister. But Lauren was always meant to be a mom. We used to grow up calling her the ladybug. And if anyone has watched James and the Giant Peach growing up, if you haven't, go see it. It's an awesome little kids cartoon movie. But in James and the Giant Peach, the ladybug was the responsible one in the group. And so we grew up calling my sister the ladybug because she was always a mom. And so when she got into her mid-20s, she became a mom right away because that was her dream. It just was never mine. I've never had strong feelings about marriage, owning a house, or starting a family. I've always had a strong passion to achieve career-wise, but kids I've been up and down about. And I'll say now that I'm in a relationship with someone that I just adore. Oh man, I'm so obsessed. He's a great partner. I can see him being a great parent. I want to continue on his genes. All the things that I would like. So with the right person, I can see kids in my future. That's the thing. I've changed my mind so much in the past few years, and I have proven myself wrong about myself so much that I've just stopped having the nerve to say, here's what I will or won't do, or here's who I am or who I am not. I don't know. Let's just leave it at that. All right, so Mandy Metz wants to know, what do you think about the whole men don't like women that had many sexual partners thing? I think there's a lot of credibility to that statement that men don't like women who've had a lot of sexual partners, because social conditioning is a real thing. And so if we've had centuries of people saying that the value of a woman goes up when the number of people who have been sexual with her is down, people are going to believe that. So I think it exists and it's out there. I don't meet a lot of people like that personally. I think in the world that I'm in and this circle that I surround myself with, I have never met someone before who has canceled me out or who has given me a thumbs up because they thought my number was high or low. So it's not in my range of experiences, but I don't doubt for a second that it doesn't exist, especially maybe in smaller towns. So, but here's the thing. Okay, if I've had too many sexual experiences for you to want to experience something with me, okay. Or if you don't have enough experience. So there's always going to be qualifiers in life, reasons people deserve or don't deserve love. And most of them are manufactured because everyone is deserving of love. Everyone is lovely in their own right. And compatibility is about finding someone who is lovely in the ways that matter most to you. And if that's what matters most to someone, you're just not a good candidate for them. Doesn't mean that you are disqualified from acceptance or respect or love or from protection. It just means that that person and you probably shouldn't engage in an intimate relationship if that matters to them. And when it doesn't matter anymore, then they can come back to you with their tail between their legs, begging, because you all that. Good answer. But now I have a question for you. Are you ready to get juicy? No, it's not. It's actually not that juicy. But anyways, it's Lyric Soul System. I butchered that, my bad. I remember there being a YouTube beef with you and another YouTuber around this time last year. I've been dying to know, what was that about? So are you in a tea spilling mood or a tea sipping mood or just more like a coffee mood right now? Y'all, I cannot tell you how many times, and look at me wringing my hands right now, I have gone back and forth on whether to respond to this. So there's been like two things that happened last year, I guess YouTube wise. One, I did a video with the Hodge twins, who I love and adore, I think are fantastic, and I consider to be friends. But the Hodge twins audience, if you guys have watched Handmaid's Tale, they'd be the kind of people who would be implementing that kind of regimen. Not all of them, but just a lot of them. And for whatever reason, I think it might be jokey because of the way that they are, but they tend to be very misogynistic, closed-minded people. So I made a comment last year about their audience. I think people misconstrued into me attacking the actual YouTubers, and that wasn't what I was doing at all. And so if that's what you're referring to, there's absolutely no beef at all. I adore them. I think they're great. Whenever that video, because one of the things I love about YouTube and why I'll stay on YouTube is that you just never know. I can make this video today and it could get, 5,000 views in a week. And then all of a sudden in 2025, it just picks up steam. And so the Hodge twins video a couple times has just picked up steam for whatever reason, just becomes back in the circle. And then I'm just inundated with more abusive comments. And so I almost had this love-hate relationship with that video. I love it because it's hilarious. It's one of my favorite sex talk videos I've ever done before. But I hate it because whenever people watch it, a certain kind of person watches it, it opens me up for verbal abuse, which is never my favorite thing because I actually enjoy reading the comments on YouTube. And I don't want to have to feel uncomfortable because I don't know if it's going to be abusive or constructive. So that's been a tricky point. You were at the opening scene at a school in Mean Girls for a flash of a second. Am I right? The Mean Girls question. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so proud of this period of time in my life. So when I was in high school, as you guys know, a really good friend of mine, whom as a result, I want to say this as a sidebar. So I made a video like this a while ago and I spoke about those girls are wild. And so I give my partner, my ex-partner, permission to say, I don't see value in talking to her at all or having a sense of closure, and that would be okay with me. But I'm open to it, and I'm not saying it's as a result of me making this video, but I will tell you that after 5 years of us not being in communication, not talking about what happened, not meeting face to face, she reached out to me and we were able to have a discussion and talk, and I think now be on pretty decent terms. Where it goes from here, it's one thing or the other. But so anyhow, that individual was an actress and doing very well for herself, and she opened up her own background agency, and I was her friend, so I'm like, of course I'm gonna be a part of it. And so day one on set of me ever doing background was Mean Girls, and anyone who's done extra work before, you know that it's always the new people who want to be on camera. And I did. I got to body check Lindsay Lohan. My mom used to talk about it like it was a starring role, and it was embarrassing for me because I'm like, I'm an extra. I did extra work for a long time, y'all, a really long time. It was my job to pay my way through college, and then after I graduated and couldn't find a job, it was still my job. And I met amazing people through there. It also taught me so much humility. I think on set, you're definitely the bottom of the barrel, and you just have a greater appreciation for not being the star of the show. And so I don't ever walk into a room and expect to be like the spotlight's on me, and I don't look at myself as a super important person, which sometimes can be a detriment to me. And maybe that's a part of many things, being a minority, being a woman, and then being in background. Like, it's just been conditioned in my brain that I'm not that important. But I also think it's been really humbling and awesome for me. So it's a proud part of the Shan Boody history that whenever I get asked that question, I'm always really, really excited to be like, yes, that's me. That's me. Well, I want to say thank you so much for sharing all of your truth and perspective. Your batteries keep dying. Let's wrap this thing up. Before we go, I wanted one more time shout out the Squarespace website. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it fast and make it look stunning with Squarespace.
Black or grow like this.